why the first time I realized something was seriously wrong. I was standing on my own dock watching bulldozers across the lake. At first I thought it was normal construction, maybe someone building a few cabins. But within months, what used to be quiet shoreline turned into rows and rows of vacation homes. 109 cabins, boats everywhere, noise every weekend. And then I received a letter from an HOA I had never joined, telling me I now had to follow their lake usage rules. That was the moment I smiled, because they clearly had no idea who actually controlled the water they were building around. Before we get into how this turned into one of the strangest property battles I've ever experienced, take a quick second to like the video and subscribe to Karen's Stories Daily. It helps the channel grow, and if you enjoy real-life HOA drama and satisfying stories where things don't go the way entitled people expect, you're going to want to hear this entire story. So here's the background. About 10 years ago, I bought a piece of land in northern Michigan. Nothing fancy, just a quiet cabin and a private lake surrounded mostly by undeveloped forest. The previous owner was an older farmer who explained something very important during the sale. The land included historical water rights dating back generations. At the time, I didn't think much about it. I just liked fishing, quiet mornings, and not seeing another person for miles. For years, life was peaceful. I worked remotely, spent weekends kayaking, and slowly upgraded the cabin. The lake stayed calm, mostly visited by wildlife and the occasional passing hiker. Then one year, a large development company bought property on the far side of the lake. At first, I wasn't worried. They announced a small vacation retreat. Sounded harmless, but construction didn't stop. Cabins kept appearing. Roads were cut into the forest. Docks extended into the water. By the end of the year, the shoreline looked completely different. Soon after, I received an envelope marked Lake Harmony HOA. Inside was a welcome letter explaining that all lake residents must comply with community regulations, including boating limits, dock usage schedules, and shared maintenance fees. I honestly laughed. I wasn't part of any HOA. I ignored it, assuming it was a mistake. 2 weeks later, another letter arrived, this one less friendly. It claimed my dock violated HOA alignment rules and demanded modifications within 30 days. That's when I called the number listed. A woman answered, introducing herself as Melissa, the HOA president. She explained confidently that the new cabin development formed an association governing lake use for community harmony. I calmly told her I owned my property independently and never agreed to join. Her response surprised me. She said, "You don't have to join. The lake falls under HOA management." I paused and asked, according to who? She said their legal team confirmed authority over shared water. Access. That conversation stuck with me, because I remembered something from closing documents years earlier: water rights. I dug through old paperwork stored in a filing cabinet. Buried inside was a thick document outlining historical usage rights tied specifically to my parcel of land. The previous owner had retained control over water level management through an old dam structure feeding the lake. I hadn't touched it because there was never a reason to. Until now. Before acting, I contacted a property attorney specializing in land and water law. After reviewing everything, he leaned back and smiled slightly. He said, "Technically, they built around a lake you partially control." That was the first time I realized how serious this could become. Meanwhile, HOA letters kept coming. Complaints about my boat size, noise warnings, even a fine for fishing outside designated quiet hours rules they invented without my consent. Then came the meeting invitation demanding my attendance. I went out of curiosity. The room was filled with vacation homeowners who clearly believed the HOA governed everything. Melissa presented slides about maintaining property values and enforcing lake standards. When she mentioned upcoming enforcement actions against non-compliant owners, several people turned to look at me. I calmly asked one question. "Did anyone here verify who holds the lake's water rights?" The room went quiet. Melissa brushed it off, saying their lawyers handled legal matters. Tanser told me everything. Construction continued, and summer arrived. Boats filled the water daily. Jet skis echoed across mornings that used to be silent. Trash started appearing along shorelines. Wildlife disappeared. I decided it was time to understand exactly what my rights allowed. The old dam upstream controlled inflow levels. legally maintained but rarely adjusted. According to documents, I could regulate seasonal water height within environmental guidelines. So I contacted the county and environmental office, confirming compliance procedures. Everything checked out. I didn't rush. I waited. Late summer during peak tourist season. I submitted notice to perform scheduled maintenance and seasonal water adjustment, something completely legal and historically normal. Over several days, water levels lowered gradually by just under 2 feet. Nothing dangerous, completely permitted. But the effect was immediate. Several shallow docks built by the HOA development were suddenly unusable. Boats sat tilted in mud. Jet skis couldn't launch. Complaints exploded across the community. My phone started ringing non-stop. Melissa called first, furious, demanding I restore water levels immediately. I calmly explained I was exercising legal water management rights for maintenance purposes. She said the HOA would sue. My attorney responded before I even needed to speak. Within days, legal letters flew back and forth. The HOA argued economic damages due to reduced vacation rentals. My lawyer presented historical rights documents proving authority existed decades before their development. Then discovery revealed something incredible. Their developers had been warned about water rights during early planning, but assumed enforcement would never happen because previous owners never exercised control. They gambled and lost. Mediation followed. The HOA pushed hard, claiming community harm. The mediator asked whether they performed proper due diligence before building 109 cabins dependent on stable water levels. No clear answer came. Eventually, an agreement formed. The HOA funded shoreline redesigns and floating dock systems capable of handling seasonal changes. They also withdrew every violation and acknowledged my independent ownership publicly. For the first time since construction began, peace returned to the lake. Funny enough, relations improved afterward. Once boundaries were respected, cooperation became easier. Noise rules became voluntary instead of forced. Wildlife slowly returned. Standing on my dock months later, watching calm water again, I realized something simple. Power isn't always loud. Sometimes it's just knowing your rights and using them responsibly when pushed too far. I never wanted conflict. I just wanted the same quiet lake I bought years earlier. So now I'm curious, what would you have done if an HOA tried to control property you legally owned? Would you fight back or avoid the drama entirely? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Why? Because I read them all. And if you enjoyed this story, share it with someone who loves HOA drama and real-life revenge stories. Thanks for spending time with Karen's Stories Daily, and I'll see you in the next story.